We can be step one part of the change, where we focus, we really see the injustices, we launch strong rockets of desire because we expose ourselves to strong momentum of unwanted. And so we're part of the big rocket of desire where we not only want, but we demand something to be different. And we can be a part of the allowing part of it, the receiving mode part of it, whereas once we've asked for the change, that we stand in vibrational alignment by focusing upon what we're looking for, not what we're pushing against, so that we can say the right words, so that we can stand at the right place in the right time. Because what so many young people, or not so young people, are translating this conversation to be is that we have to push hard against what we don't want. And of course, step one matters in the equation. But if you stay only in step one, then you deprive yourself of the connection, of the clarity, of the receiving, of the getting to stand as witness of the improvement. And that's why so much goes so slowly. The protest lasts too long, and people hold themselves in defiance of their own desires.
But can we move beyond step one as a community? Does that reconcile with?
Of course, but in order to do that, you must teach to the clarity of your example. And the thing that happens to so many people that want to lead movements is that they have discovered that the majority of the population of the planet, the majority of the population of your environments, all of which you described to us at the beginning of your statement, the majority of those people are in step one, pushing hard against step one. And so in order to get their attention, you have to do that too. And then you defeat your own platform, because you can't be in step one and step three at the same time. Step one is the asking mode. Step three is the listening mode, the receiving mode. So our encouragement is that you dart in and out, get in step one, get yourself stirred up, identify your cause, not your problem, your cause, your claim to improvement, what you prefer, and then focus on that and just pay attention. And this is something that you could say to your joyful 14-year-old, because you are joyful at home. Find satisfying thoughts. And so when she thinks about helping, that's satisfying. When it feels futile, that's not. When she feels afraid, that's not satisfying. When she fears what's going on in the world, that's not satisfying.
So I say, don't be afraid. Like, I'm sorry, I'll come back to this example of the school shooting. I almost didn't want to acknowledge it with her, but she needed to have this moment of grief around it and then feel like she could affect change. And I'm like, well, we had to have that moment of contrast, right?
We are never encouragers of avoiding step one. We just don't want you to make a life career out of step one. And most people, once they get in step one, that's where they want to stay. And the reason is this. We understand the reason. They have a valid reason. It just doesn't serve them very well. Is that the unwanted thing that happened, that step one moment, caused them to want a better world, to want a safer world, to want a happier world, a world that right now they don't believe is possible because they're all twirled up in what they're watching on television or the reality of what just happened. And so it feels to them that in order to justify all this new goodness that they're asking for, that they have to push really, really hard against the badness. And you have to help her to understand that how it works is you teach by the clarity of your example. Do whatever you can do to help your daughter maintain her connection with her source. Because when she's in connection with her source, she'll feel good. She'll feel safe. She will attract things that are. And the worst thing you can do is fan the flames of what makes her feel vulnerable. And so we get it. People don't want to hear that. They want you to face reality, and they want to take all kinds of action. But you're leading us to the most important thing that we will talk about here together today. You're really going to like it, how it ties together, and the tool that it will give you for clarity along the way and success in whatever it is you're teaching or living yourself. So in every moment that you are awake in your physical body, you are in the receiving mode of something, because you can't turn your tuner off. It's on, which means you are emitting a vibrational signal, which means you are receiving a vibrational signal, because whatever station you're on is what's coming back to you. The question that you might want to ask yourself as you're moving through the day, it ties in with this satisfied or not satisfied, is what receiving mode am I in? Am I in the receiving mode of Source, who knows the whole picture of me? Or am I in the receiving mode of CNN, who has a different agenda today? What receiving mode am I in? Because depending upon what receiving mode you're in, either will gain momentum. In time, there will be enough momentum that you'll want to take action. But you just want to make sure that you're in the receiving mode. Esther has just sent off to the printer a proof for a new dash card. It's a card you can put on the dash of your car. It was either that or a bumper sticker, and she didn't think it was a good idea for you to run around with a bumper sticker that said "under the influence." When you look at it, you can't tell what it says because it's all backwards and funny, but when it's on your dash, it reflects onto your windshield. So low on your windshield, it's a nice reminder. Under the influence. What influence am I under? Am I under the influence of my inner being, which means am I in the receiving mode? Or am I under the influence of fearful, worrisome things?
The 24-hour news/fear cycle. Like, if Jessie knows that a school shooting is happening, she's not continuing to participate by watching replays of it over and over and the commentary on it for days to come. Like, she knows this has happened. And that's when I tell her to listen to Source and stop listening to the news. Like, we acknowledge it and then we look for answers from it. So
that's what we mean. So step one, of course, be awake in this world, be alive in this world, and let what comes to you in this world serve you in the way you intended. Let knowing what you don't want help you to know what you do want. For example, when you're listening, when you're under the influence of Source, the eventual ideas that will flow to you will be ideas such as offering love as often as you can, and noticing in advance those who are feeling like fish out of water, and maybe doing something to soothe them before they feel so disenfranchised and misunderstood that they are actually in a place that as they're trying to move up the emotional scale, they move into revenge. You see what we're getting at? You might be one who rendezvous with someone who is on their way to that kind of an act, but instead they meet you bright and shiny and in love with life and not judging them the way others do, and seeing them through the eyes of Source and maybe saying the perfect thing at the perfect time. In other words, when you're under the influence of Source, you are part of the solution. When you are under the influence of something other than that, you're part of the problem. So you might just want to remind her that there's step one and there's step three, and which part does she want to predominantly be a part of. And of course, you're going to be part of step one. You can't see that without having that knee-jerk reaction and wanting things to be different. But you sure can give your attention to what you want to be different. If you're under the influence of what so many people are, you don't even want to lock them up. You want to kill them dead on the spot. You want to blame them. There's no place for understanding within you about how they even got there. And therefore, there's no moving forward in helping fewer people get there. Law of attraction says you get what you think about, whether you want it or not, and whatever you're thinking about is becoming more and more and more and more and more. Do you want to be part of the problem, or do you want to be part of the solution? And once she understands the laws of the universe, you know, we talk about this stuff so much, and audiences hear and have their individual responses to what they hear here. And we know that as we speak universal truths, as we speak of the laws of the universe as we know them to be, that to those who are hearing it, it could just be another set of words that are just another set of words. We know we can talk to you about your source. We can talk to you about connection. We can talk to you about alignment. We can talk to you about empowerment. We can talk to you about the receptive mode. But until you've actually lived some life and know you want something, and then actually deliberately quieted your mind and stopped the negative chatter and allowed your vibration to rise, and you know you did because of the way you feel in your body, and then received an impulse or a thought that felt satisfying, felt delicious to you, and so you followed it because we had this discussion, and then you witnessed the result of that, and then you know, because words don't teach.